Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open Equine Market Commentary for the week of September 23rd. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and we'll just take a look at what's on tap for the markets this week. And so getting started here on the S&P 500, looking at the ES futures contracts, and with the Fed announcement last week on the no tapering for at least near term, you can see the market lurched forward to a new high there, and we put in a new monthly high at right around 1726.75, so almost 1627. And so really just continuing this major move on the monthly chart of almost somewhat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-month run since we had that setup candle in the buy zone way back in the month of, what was that, basically right around almost December of last year. So a very nice run there on the monthly chart. At some point we're going to pull back here, but the market just continues to look strong, continues to push higher. As we move over to the weekly chart, you can see we're getting these deeper pullbacks, but we're not still getting the runaway highs. The highs are coming in a little bit more shallow. Again, another deeper pullback, another shallow high, but nevertheless, it's still a new high. Did get a lot of rejection off of that price based on that news from the Fed announcement last week. There was just a lot of overextension from the moving averages on some of the lower time frames, and so it is natural to see that that pullback there. If we do get a break at the low of this candle, we could signify that we're getting basically just another deeper pullback here. But for right now, looking at the daily chart, we can see this nice level setting up right there at 1696. There's also another level in there right around 1701, where we seem to be getting a bounce right now. And you can see the on the 480 chart, you can see that level a little bit better right there around that 1701 level. So pull back right back within the moving averages. Don't really have a bullish candle set up there just yet on the 480 chart, but as we move down, you can see that level pretty well there at 1701. A series of touches there, and price action then interacting with that prior resistance level that should now become support. So we should see some buy orders coming in and accumulating around this level to potentially push the market back up. And then we'll have to be looking for maybe some levels here like around 1713 where folks might be taking some profit. If we do end up getting back up to the 1726 level, I'd be looking for some divergence on some of these other time frames like the 240 and the 480. And if you start to see that, then we might be looking then, coupling that with overextension for the moving averages and divergence means we're more than likely going to get a pullback off of that level. So I'd be getting cautious right around that 1726 level, but looking for some opportunities right around this 1701 level to play that bounce back in the direction of the overall trend of the higher time frames, the monthly, weekly, and the daily. So things are looking still pretty bullish here on the S&P 500 for the upcoming week. Moving over then to the small cap stocks, looking at the Russell 2000 index, which is the TF contract. And again, nothing new here on the monthly chart. Everything looks pretty similar to the ES, the S&P 500. And then looking at the weekly chart, the weekly chart does look a little different. You'll notice on some of these deeper pullbacks, getting those beautiful setup candles right there in amongst that 10-20 period moving average. Then as you can see, the highs are running almost an equal amount of the pullback. So basically just representing these 50% pullbacks to these levels of support, and then moving back up and beyond that, and then pulling back in to these levels of support. So we did around that 1,000 level and then taking off again. So the most recent high here is not quite as high, so it's starting to, the highs are not as dramatic. Tells us a little bit about the price action, the trend, might be weakening somewhat, but we're still in a pretty, very bullish market here. Looking then at the daily chart, you can see we had some fairly small indecisive candles up here. Haven't really gotten a break of the low of those candles. Let's take a look a little closer here at the low, which is 1068.40. The low 1068.10. So we've just basically just flirting with the lows there. If we do get a break of that low, we might get a little deeper pullback here, maybe into this 1056 level, which would really be the next level of support. So I haven't really had as much of a pullback as we have had on the S&P index. So as you can see right here, just a shallower pullback right back into that level right around 1066. So again, we're getting some bullish candles right in and around that buy zone. No divergence on any of the indicators here as we move down in the time frames. We can see that 1066 level a little bit better, several touches in there. that were prior resistance. Now we're coming back to that potential level of support. Haven't really pulled back to touch that level yet, which still might be possible. But for right now, we can see we're just right back to that lower, that significant low right there, right around 1068. So pulling back into those levels and then getting a bounce off of that. You thought we would have pulled back into that level right around that 1066 level, but it looks like it didn't actually drop into a lower low yet beyond this level, and price is looking like it wants to bounce off of that level. So I'd be looking for a run up, potentially back up to to the highs up around that 1078 level, and then looking again to see what the markets look like at that point. But seems like the markets are ready to move higher again off of this level based on what we're seeing here on the 480 charts, and potentially moving higher into the week. If we are going to get a deeper pullback, more than likely we'd have to break this level right here at 1066 and then pull back all the way into that potentially that 1056 level. So that's what things look like for the small cap stocks going into this week. And so we'll wrap up the outlook for the markets here by looking at a foreign currency pairing, looking at the pound dollar here. As you can see, really a ranging market here for just quite some time, really going all the way back to like 2010, just kind of ranging between these levels here. And so we can certainly take advantage of that. On the monthly chart, it might be a ranging chart, but some of these moves down here obviously are going to be very significant trends on some of the lower time frames that are actually tradable for us. So just keeping in mind that we're trading between some of these levels, then we can go down to those lower time frames to find our trend flow or a momentum breakout setups. As we can see, we do have a lot of overextension here on the weekly chart, but we have had a series of weeks here of just higher highs, higher lows, and breaking through the that swing high there right around 157.46. And as you can see on the daily chart, getting a little bit of a pullback off those highs, getting a fairly bullish candle there. Haven't pulled yet all the way back into a support level, which would still be quite a ways lower to get all the way back into the buy zone. But we can see on the 480 chart, have a series of small candles there. Nice bullish candle there, nice bullish candle there. Looking for the break of the high of the two of those candles, which would be at the high 160.29 and 160.30, and currently we're right around 160.39. So it looks like we have broken the highs of those. And nice tight small candles defines our risk. Very nice setup there. If we have the same thing on the 240, which we've got a couple of nice setup candles there with a break of the high, as you can see. Looks like we might be moving back up to the high at this point. So good looking trend there overall. Nice trend flow setup in and around that 10 and 20 period moving average. And it would be nice if we had a support level there, but on the 240 it doesn't look too bad, and things look pretty good on the 480. So again, looking to stay with these long trends. You can see that trend of higher highs, higher lows, all the moving averages getting into alignment here on the daily chart, and moving averages getting into alignment here on the weekly chart, at least for the 10 and 20. We don't necessarily have the 50. But as we trade between these ranges, we go down to the lower time frames and then look for our chart structure, and then look to see where these pullbacks are occurring on what time frames, and then utilize these entry candles within that buy zone to define our risk and define our entry, and to look for the next move going in the direction of the predominant trend. So pretty good looking chart structure there on the pound dollar, and it looks like the market's going to be pretty bullish going into the upcoming week. So that'll wrap up the outlook for the week. I'd like to thank you all for watching the Open Equine Market Commentary for the week of September 23rd. And a couple of things coming up this week. We have a webinar on the 24th, which is Tuesday this week. That'll be 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and this will be the advanced course session. As you know, we just wrapped up the three-part advanced series talking about the two trade strategies that we're teaching in the advanced course, the trend flow strategy and the momentum breakout strategy, which is what we used a lot of in these market commentaries. So we have that coming up. Part 4, which is really the mentoring session. So if you're trading these strategies, check into the mentoring. We'll be doing some looking at some live charts, and then figuring out where these trend flow and where these momentum breakout setups are occurring in live markets. So take a look at that on the 24th, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll also have on the 25th, Wednesday morning, we'll have the midweek market commentary coming up and taking a look at some other hot markets to trade. So again, thanks for watching, and we look forward to speaking to you next week on the Market Update.